Welcome back, my friends. I'm Johnny B with JohnnyB.com. Did you know easements gives someone else a right to use your property? How does that work? Okay, an easement gives somebody the right to use a property, but it doesn't give them the right to possess a property that they don't own. When you go to purchase a property, one of the disclosures is going to be the preliminary title report. And the title plan is going to issue a report showing the easements on the property along with the liens on the property. The easements are transferred when you purchase the property. They flow with the ownership of the property. An easement gives somebody the right to use your property. Most of the time, these are permanent, but they're controlled by the wording inside of the document itself. The easements show up in the preliminary title report, and these are usually hot links that you can click through to see, and you can inspect the wording of those. Very common to have things like utility poles, power lines, water lines, sewer lines. Sometimes if you have zero lot lines and a property's wall or garage is backed up as part of the fence of your yard, the neighbor will need an easement to come and paint and maintain that part of the home. You should not put any hardscape over the top of these easements because they have to have access to do their maintenance work. It's important to have easements in any community because you have to have free-flowing water and gas lines and power, etc. And the only way to maintain them is to have easements to come in and service them. It's also important to take a look at the parking spaces. You might have one that's too short or too narrow, or it might be some distance different than you expect. So you definitely want to take a look at that and see if it's adequate for your needs. If anybody tells you that you have an easement, you must have a document in writing that shows that you have that easement. It's not sufficient for somebody to say, hey, you can drive down my driveway anytime. They could sell. There may be no intent to let you use that driveway again. And so if you have a shared driveway or some reason that you have to access your neighbor's property to fully enjoy your property, you need those easements in writing. One thing that I do as a routine step in my escrow process is I send an email to the title company and ask them to give us a color-coded map if there's 3 or more easements. And that's a diagram that has color coding for the different easements. It makes it easy for you to see what type of easements are on your property. In our next episode, are you aware of the red flags to watch for that could cause your escrow to be derailed? Until next time, I'm Johnny B.
Say more about transparency, because I'm in the human development world and
Yep.
we talk about transparency is so important.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
So in the negotiations, you can imagine there's 10, 15, 25 offers on a single house. So statistically, you'd expect me to maybe win 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15. I'm getting 8 or 9 out of 10.
Wow.
So the way I do this is by I'm not gonna spill the guts on the secrets of my negotiation
sauce, yes.
process, but there's multiple parts, and each of those components I focused on for an extended period of time to bring it up to the best possible that it could be. Mm-hmm. So in terms of transparency, initially the transparency is between the seller, the listing agent, and me and my client. That creates comfort in the confidence of the close, in confidence of putting their trust in us and accepting our offer. So does that make sense?
Yes.
So that increases the comfort, and once that comfort is increased, there's a slight bias shift that starts to take place. We enhance that throughout a ping pong of negotiations, starting out with live, because you know when you communicate by text, there's a very small bandwidth of communication, right? If it's by phone, it's bigger. By video, it's pretty good, but face-to-face trumps everything. So I always begin my negotiations in a face-to-face preheat process. That creates transparency between the listing agent and myself. Then as we move into the negotiations that occur on the phone, those deepen the relationship and exchange of information takes place that positions me to negotiate at the end. And at the end, what I do, which is very different, I will then do live presentations, but I will bring my clients with me and have them watch my face-to-face negotiations. So most of my peers are emailing their offer in. Can you imagine with a preheat process, a relationship having been established, the communication that occurs in the middle, and a face-to-face transition at the end? That's why we're having such great success. And then, of course, there's a lot of attention that I put into the negotiating aspect in the face-to-face as well. But we've set the stage for success by all the work that we've done up front. So does that make sense?
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It makes sense why you're getting 8 or 9 out of 10 as a result of doing
The clients really enjoy it because they feel they're masterful in their negotiations because of the work they do. But would they get to physically watch me do this? And because it's my field and I focused on it so long, there's a sense of flow in the negotiations. You know, flow in the playing field.
Right.
That's because there's a lot of training, a lot of thoughtfulness, a lot of visualization, right? And that's charged sometimes with emotional energy, which is getting into the primal language, which is deep inside of us. When you do all of that effort on negotiations, you can flow in business too. And so it becomes kind of you're unstoppable, untouchable as you go through this negotiation process, and the clients really love it.